Episode 2 of Squid Game Season 3 begins with player 246 waking up. Noyol kills the doctor and decides to disguise 246 as a guard. Back to the game for now, the red team enters the arena and each member has 30 minutes to kill at least one blue team member. There's some really slick camera work here as we follow both members of the red team and the blue team dipping in and out of different corridors and going through doors. Eventually the camera does settle down and we focus on Gi-hun, who goes after Daeho, who narrowly avoids him every time. The shaman and her followers go the way the ghosts tell her, however we see that she just avoids the noisy paths. Player 100 realizes his key doesn't fit all the doors, which comes into what we said in the previous episode about the different shaped keys. Instead, he teams up with a blue team member who has a different key. Hanju deduces the same thing, that there are 3 locks with 3 keys. Fortunately, the women have 1 of each key. Gwamja and Junhee decide to give their key to Hanju to save time. Myunggi and Namgyu, aka player 124, kill 2 players at the same time, so they cannot betray each other. However, Namgyu drops Thanos' pillbox and Minsu grabs one. He keeps hearing how he is a coward and he takes a pill. 226 runs into the 3 women and tries to negotiate with Hanju to let him kill Junhee or Gwamja. It seems that Hanju may actually give in, but instead she turns around and ends up killing him. Player 100 predictably betrays his ally to escape a red team member and then later steals his key.
I really hate that man.
Once it's announced that Myunggi has passed, Junhee is hopeful that he will come to protect her and the women. However, Namgyu convinces Myunggi to kill all the blue team members instead. That way, the red team members who fail to reach the quota will also be killed, and the prize money will increase for them and Junhee. Gi-hun ignores every blue team member who is not Daeho. Coincidentally, a red team member attacks Daeho but is accidentally killed. Daeho takes his knife and hides. Meanwhile, the women hide in the room as Junhee fractures her ankle. To make matters worse, she goes into labor. Yongsik corners an injured blue team player, and he is the one who dragged Yongsik away from his mother during the Mingle game. The blue team player attacks, but another red team player kills him while Yongsik looks in shock, blood spattered across his face. The shaman accidentally leads her followers into an ambush set by Myunggi and Namgyu. As she escapes, she runs into Gi-hun. It turns out she is on his hit list as well, but to save herself, she tells him about an injured Daeho, leaving a trail of blood. Gi-hun leaves her for now and starts following the blood. She finally finds the exit, but realizes that she needs all 3 keys to unlock it. Yongsik comes across an injured blue team player here, but is unable to kill her. Player 100 plays dead and is almost killed by Namgyu, who is called away by Myunggi. The shaman finds 100, and since he has the remaining keys, she takes him to the exit. Gwamja and Hanju help Junhee give birth to her child while this is going on. A red team member attacks and Hanju fights back. They tussle and she eventually manages to kill him, but not before being stabbed in the thigh. She finally notices her surroundings and sees that she's actually at an exit. She unlocks the door as she has all 3 keys and looks set to step through until she suddenly remembers Junhee and Gwamja. She goes back to them, but Myunggi suddenly comes up behind her and stabs her in the spine.
What? What the f?
He finally notices Junhee and their child, and he covers for them and leads Namgyu away. Player 100 betrays the shaman and locks her out once he exits, in the most predictable move you could have guessed at the start of this episode. She's cornered by a stoned Minsu looking for Sei-mi. She tries to use her shaman act to put him down, but it just reminds him of Namgyu. In the end, he kills her and then panics when he hallucinates killing Sei-mi. Gi-hun finally finds Daeho here, who starts apologizing and rambling. He admits he never served in the army and lied so he could team up with him and Jung Bae. This explains why he was so fearful, and although he wanted to help bring the magazines, he got scared during the rebellion. He begs for his life but then grabs his knife and attacks Gi-hun. He goes as far as to claim Gi-hun tricked them so he could get everyone killed and take all the prize money for himself. Having had enough, Gi-hun chokes Daeho until he dies. Junhee and Gwamja finally reach the exit, but while unlocking the door, Yongsik finds them. With only a minute left on the clock, he needs to kill someone or he will be killed himself. He decides to kill Junhee and Gwamja begs him to kill her instead. He refuses, going after Junhee, and a desperate Gwamja stops him by stabbing him with a hairpin blade in the past. He turns and apologizes before the guards kill him for failing, and at the end of episode 2, Gi-hun convinces himself that it is his fault that the rebellion failed. Before he can kill himself though, the guards stop him. So Squid Game is finally back to its triumphant self in what's arguably one of the best episodes since the show began all those years ago. It seems like the original Squid Game charm is indeed back, and this game goes as far as to remind us of the marble game in season 1, where fan favourites were betrayed and or killed off in bulk. It's completely action packed and gory as even the blue team members start to fight back. The old man's motto of man being inherently selfish is seen in full display during this game, with players betraying even their own allies. Maybe Hyunju should have been selfish, at least that way she wouldn't have been literally stabbed in the back, but at the same time it shows more about her character that she would go back and help her teammates rather than just trying to progress with the game for the sake of it. The emotional quotient is even higher than the marble game though, given that the characters had a whole season to be fleshed out and relatable. We already knew it was a bad move for Gwamja and Junhee to switch with Yongsik and Myunggi respectively, and at the end of this episode we see that in devastating detail. However, it would have been nice to see Daeho earn some redemption, as that would have made his death even more impactful. Instead, he does a complete 180 turn from his season 2 personality, making him cruel without any setup except for the previous episode's outburst. However, beyond that, the camera work in this episode is excellent, the game itself is simple but effective, and the ending brings back that unpredictability factor that was perhaps missing from season 2, with so many characters seeming to have plot armor. Now that the shackles are off, who knows where this one will go next. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.